name is Kasia Makowska, and I am the Open Science Coordinator, Open Science Manager at Wikimedia Polska. It's really great to be here and very exciting to be able to host this panel. So thank you to the organizers for having us, and thank you all for joining us this early in the morning. Today, we will be talking about open science, open academia, and what does opening the academia mean for the Wiki community and the Wiki movement. I have with me three fantastic panelists who are both familiar with the Wiki community and also represent the academic community. I will introduce them now. We have Dariusz Jemielniak, who is a professor of management at Kozminski University, faculty associate at the Berkman Klein Center for Internet and Society at Harvard University, and vice president of Polish Academy of Sciences. His interests revolve around social data science and collaborative society, open collaboration projects such as Wikipedia, strategy of knowledge-intensive organizations, and virtual communities. He sits on the Wikimedia Foundation Board of Trustees and has recently been appointed to the European Institute of Innovation and Technology Governing Board by the European Commission. Hello. Let me move this. Next, we have Julia Maria Koszewska, who holds degrees in Library and Information Science, Knowledge and Science Management, and a PhD in Applied Social Sciences. She's been engaged with Wikipedia since 2007 and is currently in her second term as Vice Chair of Wikimedia Poland. She's been instrumental to initiating Glam Wiki, Wiki Women, and Ethno-Wiki projects in Poland. Julia is an independent scholar, and professionally, she works as a senior library assistant at Organization for Society and Cooperation in Europe, Office for Democratic Institutions and Human Rights. And last but not least, we have Włodzimierz Lewoniewski, who is an assistant professor at the Department of Information Systems at Poznań University of Economics and Business. His research areas include information quality in open knowledge bases, such as Wikipedia, DBpedia or Wikidata, fake news detection, natural language processing, and machine learning. He's the author of over 50 articles in Polish, English, and Russian, and you might have seen his session yesterday on using Wikidata to look at Americanization of different regions. If you've not seen it, I recommend it. Welcome all. Thank you for agreeing to speak on this panel with us. And if you have been following the program, you might have noticed that it has evolved. We were supposed to be joined by Maciej Bisaga from University of Silesia here in Katowice, who is also a colleague of Agnieszka Turska-Kawa, who spoke so passionately about open science at the opening ceremony yesterday. But unfortunately, Maciej was unable to join us due to unforeseen personal circumstances. So a special thanks to Julia and Włodek for stepping in at a short notice. So the plan is that I will kick us off with a few questions to the panel, and then we will have some time for questions from the audience towards the end. So if you have any questions brewing, please keep them till the end. I should also acknowledge or apologize that we are all Poland-centric or Poland-based. We are the hosting country, so I guess that's our excuse. But we will take every effort to make the conversation relevant to international context. So I hope you will find something for you in this as well. And I wanted to start with some basics. I feel like open science can have so many definitions and can mean different things to different people depending on their background, their situation. And so I wanted to ask, what does opening the academia mean to you? And if you want to get a bit more personal, if there's any favorite aspects of it. Maybe we can start with Derek.
All right. Opening academia, I think it's a kind of a difficult topic for me. It's something I've been struggling when I was writing my PhD. One of the things that annoyed me most was that I had absolutely no access to articles. I know I was in Poland. It was, you can see it was a while back, and we didn't have access to Western journals. If I wanted to read something, I either have to pay probably 5% of my monthly salary to get it, ask the author and wait, or look around the internet. And Sci-Hub was not as popular as it is now. So opening science has a very personal touch to me in the sense of access to articles. However, I'm on the other side of the fence now. I'm publishing as well. So when I'm publishing, opening science means to me that I want my results to be accessible to everyone. So this side is also a bummer. I have to pay like $3,000 for stuff I did on oftentimes on public money dime, and people do not really have access to it. So I have to, this open access it's a scheme. Generally, academic publishing is a huge scheme, be it open access, be it regular publishing. So this is one aspect. Another, opening data sets. The fact that most scholars publish and they say, oh yeah, maybe we'll let you have this data set or not if you really ask nicely. This is absolutely unacceptable. I think there should be standards for letting people publish data sets, making it available, and we do not really have good procedures for that. I mean, Nature journals do a little bit of it. There are some data gathering initiatives like Dataverse at Harvard, but nevertheless, down to business, most publications that you will see will not really have a data set available by design. And even if it is available by goodwill from the authors, oftentimes it will be published somewhere, maybe on somebody's Google Drive with a bit.ly link. This is absolutely not sustainable. So these two aspects are very important, I think, when we think about opening science. But there's third one. And to me, opening science, opening academia also means being open to publishing negative results. This is super important. Why on earth? Somebody with a crazy mind agreed on this years ago that we should only publish stuff when we can show correlation, when we can show a result. This is insane, because in medicine especially, think about it. In medicine, you discover something, or you do research, you do not really discover something, but the academic community should know. This is exactly what academia is all about, because otherwise hundreds and hundreds of scholars will repeat the same the same research, and they will also not be able to publish it. So this is absolutely insane. Academic world is a madness. Do not go there, please. I'm lost, but maybe there's still some hope for you. Do not go there. These three aspects, I think, are crucial.
Thank you very much. I think it resonates a lot. Julia?
Thank you. For me, open academia is something that, if we look historically at the concept of the academia, that's how it was supposed to be in a way, but it wasn't. Academia was an elite concept, affordable for some from the specific groups, and then also with the filter of money affordable for those who could afford. But if we look at the academia now, openness is this kind of utopian goal that we're hopefully aiming for. But in our context of the Wikipedians, like one of the main concepts of Wikipedia to collect the entire human knowledge, that's another utopia. But we do believe in such things, and we definitely focus on achieving so with our free time and other resources. So I believe open academia is also something very close for Wikipedians and people contributing to other wiki sibling projects. But open academia, contrasting with the open science, would be for me this larger concept that will be about changing the approach, the paradigm, the institutional cultures, culture of institutions, entire concept approach, this openness that Darek was speaking about, that steers the further cooperation, but also makes us accountable, because if we publish, then someone else can do the check. And this is, again, something very familiar to all the Wikipedians, checking references, checking resources. We have dedicated campaigns just to do that. One lib, one ref, and others. So I think this is something that is very close to us. So I hope those that followed Darek's path and are here in the room are not the lost cause, but let's do something together. Thank you.
Thanks, Julia. What about you, Wodek?
Why I am lost here? I wanted to say something that say Dariusz, Julia. I can agree with that. Maybe to do not repeat all of these things, I can briefly say that open academia is, for my side, is strongly related to open data. And the more open data, I think, that the more quality will be, the research will be in bigger quality. And we as researchers can have bigger opportunities in our, we can say, new ideas and so on. Wikipedia is a good example about how the open knowledge can change the world. Recently, we see how such generative AI models such as ChatGPT and others are very useful for people. But if you look how they create such models, they try to use information with high quality. And Wikipedia is one of the standards of the quality in such models. Moreover, sometimes researchers, when they check the quality or assess quality in the whole internet, they try to compare content on those pages to content on Wikipedia. So it shows that Wikipedia still have a lot of potential. So to sum up, open academia, for me, it's something that strongly related to open data. It's some kind of trend, and I think that it is very important to open more data to society, and society can evolve much more faster. Thank you.
Thank you. I think these all resonate with me and probably with the audience. I imagine we don't have to convince anyone in this room that these ideas are worth pursuing. But I feel like the reality is a bit more mundane. We are all based at institutions that have policies and processes, or we have day-to-day practices where there's not enough time or resources. If we want open data, who's going to pay for the servers and so on? So, and I know at least Polish people, we love to complain. So the next question is, what do you think are the biggest blockers or the biggest inhibitors that are stopping us from achieving the ideas that you have outlined so far? And this time I'm going to start with you, Wodek.
Thank you very much. But I have limited time. So the main problem, I think, is our human limitations of time. Each of us has only 24 hours per day, and we cannot use all of those time to do something. So when you working on academia, you have some responsibilities. So you must have you have some tasks that you must solve. And we are accounted for our work, didactic work. In my case, it's didactics and publications. So students assessed us if we provide lessons good, if our presentation are good and so on, and those presentations are published internally in university. It's not open access. It's also interesting topic why we cannot share with these materials, but it's related to competitive advantage of maybe universities and other reasons. But we're assessed, so we need to spend our time to create good materials for university, for students. Next, publications. Of course, I want to publish, as Dariusz mentioned, in open access strategy or model, because my research will be more visible. And I think each researcher interested in more visibility of the research. But in Poland, but I think in each country there are some standards, and not all publications are valuable for university. And we need to find balance between number of points that we can receive for the publication and model in which this publication is published. So what I want to say that if I want to publish in journal which have a lot of points, no, in our academic points, I need to pay a lot to have this publication in open access model. So it's a big barrier. Sometimes I go to initiatives that didn't have a point. For example, Wikimania, it's a conference, it's a big conference, but it's formally for Polish Ministry of Science. It's not a scientific conference. Maybe it is, but it's not on the list. So I have, for me, okay, they will say, okay, fine that you go into such wonderful event, but where it's coming to evaluation of workers or researchers or employees, they count this point. So for me, it's some kind of hobby, and I need to find time for this hobby, to come here, to publish in places where model is very attractive, so open access and so on, but there is no points for that. So to sum up, big problem is regulations that don't, we can say, adapt to reality, to things that are needed for society. Thank you.
Thank you. So if I understand correctly, it sounds almost like a dilemma between wanting to pursue open science or open practices, but being stuck in a world where you have to worry about developing your career, putting bread on your plate, and limited capacity in that sense.
Yes, yes. A lot of places where we can say must publish because of points, they have this model, we can say paywall model, yeah? Of course, there is often possibility to open publications, but you need to pay. And as Dariusz mentioned before, the costs are, for in our case, it's big cost, $3,000, even $4,000 or euros. And we need to remember that other countries, we can say maybe less developed, that for them, especially this cost is very big.
Thank you. Who would like to go next? Do you have similar issues or other points of complaint?
I could go next. I wanted to, to share a little bit from the perspective of being independent researcher with one of the main challenges, especially with my librarian background, is not having access to paid academic journals. That's all those based in the formal institutions have access, and this is one of the things that university libraries are famous for. And this is something that for other purposes, the Wikipedia library could come with assistance. And I have seen from my years of involvement in the Wikimedia movement that as something that I love the most is this interconnectivity between different projects, different concepts and approaches, and the synergy that comes out of it. I will share just one example that is from the Polish ground. We have, back in the past, we have started a cooperation, and while we're telling stories, please try to find hashtags for the wiki concepts that you know. We have started a cooperation first with the National Ethnographic Museum, and they wanted to do something together. We wanted this project to be, when we were planning the cooperation, they were very much interested in applying for the ministerial grants, so that will also contribute for them, for their portfolio in future. And we wanted the project to be sustainable, but also to be exchanged, that not only we come to the museum and say, hey, give us the digital version of your collection, but we wanted also to learn something from them, and we knew that we could and also contribute with our knowledge and experience. So in a nutshell, the project that we came up with was an ethnographic field trip, you could say, that first the volunteers from Wiki projects were invited to the museum for a tour, but also to learn about ethnographic concepts, ethnographic terminology, and also how to do the field studies. We teach them how to edit Wikipedia and the concepts of the free licenses, commons, etc. We photographed a little bit of the collection on that occasion, but the participants of the project were not only the academic or scientific research employees of the museum, but also students of the ethnography. And that was part of the idea to make it sustainable, that these are those who will be in the future researchers themselves. And after this mutual exchange and learning at the beginning from each other, we have outlined main events that still had the living tradition that was performed locally and was not yet covered in Wikipedia articles and was still missing documentation, photo and video on commons. And together, researchers from the museums so scholars in a way, but based in cultural GLAM institution, together with the students of ethnography and Wikipedians that came from a very diverse field. We all came together to different first places in Poland, and then there was a further project in the entire Carpathian region, connecting also to other Wiki chapters. And I believe that was one of the great projects for me personally, really great experience, and a lot of further cooperation, but also friendships definitely came out of it. But that was a project that's connected through the Wiki sibling projects. In a way, it was academic project, open academia, I would say, and that was showing also on living experience what could be done, what does it mean open science, that there's so much about field research that could be done in a cooperation with the Wikimedia movement. But of course, we ourselves as Wikipedians and our chapters and our and the projects that we contribute to could also be subject of the research. And we have one of the researchers who studied it with us, Derek.
Thank you. It's interesting. So I'm hearing on one hand the kind of publishing landscape, on the other hand, concerns about sustainability. But I really love that part about cooperation and exchange, the kind of mutual benefit. Darek?
I want to disagree with you. First of all.
But why?
Because it's more fun for people to watch. I mean, if everybody agrees, it's boring.
Agree.
So first of all, come on, you're talking to people who took personal vacations and you're telling, oh my, in my job, I have to treat it as a hobby. Everybody does. I mean, suck it up. That's one thing. Another, actually, you're pretty lucky because in Poland, as a scholar, you can count this as public outreach. It is this third criterion for evaluation, so you can report it to universities. So he comes here and it counts for his job, and he has the audacity to tell you that, oh my, I do not get more. But fair enough. The point I wanted to address, you asked what can be done about this whole problem. And I think all those root initiatives, the one you mentioned and the predicament that we all are in, it's all nice and shiny and it's important, but I think we need to have a bigger approach. Individuals will not be able to move the needle at all. What we need is for large institutions to step up. And by large institutions, I do not mean even a country. I think European Union is the best positioned body. European Research Council, for that matter, the best positioned body to do something. And what they can do is recognize the fact that universities pay billions of euro for access to libraries. And then they also pay billions of euro for open accessing the publications. For a fraction of this amount, European Union can and should start a solid platform allowing journal publication, possibly even with modest fees, modest remuneration for editors, and encourage editorial boards to transfer. Escape the prison, escape Elsevier, escape Springer, and go there. Why on earth don't we do this? And the reason is very simple. First of all, there's inertia. Second, there's lobbying. Come on, it's about money. People do not want to open it. But third, and I think this is the most depressing and sad fact, if you're a European Union officer, the only way, maybe not the only way, but one of the ways you can lose your job is by doing something brave that can fail. This is this thing. This is needed, but it can fail. It's not a foolproof idea. So that's why I think it's not happening. And this is where we should push and lobby, push back organizations, individuals, and everyone. Push for it. Make a platform allowing open access, publishing in journals, encouraging editorial boards to transfer. This is my answer.
Can I answer?
Of course.
To direct this, I thank you for this critique. But I like this positive way of thinking. I am also optimistic in general, and I also glad to be here. It's not a problem that I arrive here and don't like it, but when it comes to inviting other people to do something, we can say in volunteer way, they said, okay, but I am accounted for some other things, and I need to do so. I do not have enough time to do other hobbies, we can say, yeah, to edit Wikipedia. And so for me, of course, I see in this conference people, and for me it's a very big, I would say, zaszczyt.
Privilege,
honor, privilege to see in one place those people that have this power to do this and do not have some financial interest. So it's very good.
One immediate reply to this, if I can, because it's again, it's more fun if it's dynamic. I entirely agree with you. I was teasing you just to tease you. Obviously, this is the kind of person I am. However, one thing that could be very actionable, and actually the one that I published a couple of articles about it, editing Wikipedia should be counted towards tenure review. If you edit Wikipedia as a professional scholar and you submit it in your tenure review, this should matter. Because this is much more important than publishing some obscure journal. And another thing, I published again a couple of articles about it. If you're a scholar and you do not ask your students to write Wikipedia articles as a form of submitting your essay for a grade, you're a loser. You're a massive loser. First of all, if you do this, Wikipedia editors will oftentimes check if it's not plagiarized or not. They will, make comments, so they will heavy lift it for you. Second of all, it will not go to the shredder. It will leave something. It will actually make an impact. It will make knowledge accessible to people. So these two components, I entirely agree with you. I withdraw my critique. You're right. There is something that should be done. First, 10-year review for Wikipedia article writing. Second, making Wikipedia article writing obligatory form of essays at student level.
Yeah, yes, if I can continue this topic. So I agree that it's interesting idea to have a researcher in Wikipedia as a part of work. But the question is how to measure this contribution. So it must be something, government authorities must take some steps, create some procedures, and explain how they can give these points, scientific points to us, and we can edit more. So, and other things you mentioned, Darek, about ignoring Elsevier and other publishing houses. Still, a lot of journals are on the list of Ministry of Higher Education. So, it's a question of decision.
Thank you. Julia, did you want to add something?
Yeah, just not to be caught in a fire. And to add a little bit of a gender diversity. I wanted to add just one tiny point, maybe a little bit more like technical, that the change is already coming. We can see it on our exchange boards, sometimes on Div, sometimes on different social media groups dedicated to Wiki projects, that it is slowly coming. There are a few cases at this moment, but let's make it more, and especially those of us involved in academia and being professors supporting tutors of the different research and dissertations, that to count as publications, the publications in, for example, Wikipedia, we can also see the part of this change that more and more users do not use the regular or maybe old school nicknames as their usernames, but the username would be composed of their real name and surname. This is one of the aspects that people are looking for recognition, maybe publicity in a way, but this could be one of the aspects of reaching towards further recognition of the contribution to the Wikipedia, for example, in the academic context. And just to add one more also technical detail is those of you who tried to apply submit your concepts for publication to this big paid academic journals, you might have seen that some of them are looking for more and more outreach. And in the form to submit, you would see questions like, for example, is the publication that is the manuscript that you're submitting supposed to be a manual in a class? So that means that they would have at least a given number of already pre-subscribed clients for this publication, but also they ask you, for example, for your social media handles. Why not ask for Wikipedia usernames? That would show the credibility of the authors, recognition in the community, but community being the global community of basically everyone. And this is also a concept about the evaluation. We in Wikipedia, we have post-publication peer review. So to say, why not opening this to the academic publications per se? And as Darek mentioned at the beginning, this is something that even if the publication would be really failed research, that's important to receive feedback, I believe, and to receive this peer review in this concept.
Really interesting, thank you. So you have wonderfully anticipated my next question, and I'm gonna just think we should speak a bit more about this, and then I'll open up for questions after this, so we can have about 15 minutes for questions. If you have some, you want to get ready. So I completely agree that the publishing system we are, as researchers, we are smart people, and yet we pay to publish, we pay to read it, we review it for free, we edit it for funny money. This is completely bizarre. But I want to challenge you slightly, Darek. I've heard you recently say in a conversation in your podcast that you think that research outreach and science communication is non-existent in Poland, or it's not being rewarded, which I think, well, my question is where...
What is enough? The basic was enough. It's not rewarded enough.
Fair. But my question was going to be where in this fairly complex landscape of open data, outreach, open access, where do Wikipedia and the sibling projects, where do they come into it? And of course, it's a bit of a leading question because we would want to look at solutions, but I appreciate the answer is probably a lot more nuanced. For example, when we talk about researchers editing Wikipedia, what about the self-promotion rules? What about the fact that students are new editors and challenging for them to step in and write articles for the get-go? Tell me more.
First of all, I think the rules of self-promotion are not specific to academia. People are vain in any discipline. And it's only natural that we need to have some guidelines. However, on some Wikipedias, as you're perfectly aware, the rules say that arguments should fall or stay on their own. It's English Wikipedia is very strict. You cannot write about yourself. But on some other Wikipedias, as long as you add it in a neutral language, it's fine. I do not have an easy answer to this. I would strongly encourage everyone to perhaps not write the first article they ever write about themselves. Just a thought. But I don't think it should be a hard and fast rule, because essentially it's the outcome that matters. So most likely you will not be able to write the best article about yourself because you will not be good at writing articles. Right? This is the thing. However, if you add, you're a seasoned editor and you add something that's particularly relevant to the topic, there's no other source, I don't really have a big problem with you adding stuff that you co-authored or authored, because you're basically adding to the body of knowledge. Regarding the training students, I think it's, of course, it's a very difficult thing to start editing, because, you know, we are horrible to newcomers. I mean, we just bash them and we tell them, oh, it's all wrong, come back later. Of course, students will be discouraged like everybody else, not just students who is a newcomer to Wikipedia. However, I think as a teacher, as a professor, you already have an advantage. You have them in your class. So you can give some guidelines, you can tell them how it should work. I know Piotr, who is in the class, in this auditorium, does it, has been doing it for years. And many of us in academia have been doing this for years. So it is possible. There's also WikiEd Foundation, which has a more structured program, mainly targeting American universities, because I think it's a little pricey. But nevertheless, there are protocols and ways to do this. So an excuse that we will not do it because maybe it's too difficult, maybe people will be discouraged, I don't think it's enough. I think we should be trying. And if from a class of 30 people, just one keeps editing, it's already a huge success. And from those 30, if 5 articles remain, it's 0 versus 5, so it's already gain.
Thank you. What do you think, Julia Wodek?
I can maybe follow to this topic on self-promotion. If, Darek, you not mind someone will add something and give a reference to his publication, it not mean that other administrator will not delete this.
I personally, as an administrator, will not delete it. Yeah.
Okay, but
if it's relevant to the article.
Yeah, but there is 1,000 administration.
Absolutely, and this is how dispersed control works. If one administrator finds a problem with it, it'll be gone. But you can take it to another administrator. So it's this is how Wikipedia works, and it should, because unfortunately, there are way more people who think they are super important than people who are super important. So it's a fact of life.
But it's motivation also.
I don't think it should be motivation. I don't think we should motivate academics to, go to Wikipedia because you can self-promote yourself there. I don't think it's a good motivation. If you're an editor, if you're trying to add to the body of knowledge, and by the way, it happens that you add your own article in a process, I don't have a big problem with it. If you just go there to add yourself, maybe not.
Interesting. What do you think, Julia?
I would add just one more thing, because I really believe in how Wikipedia, our ideas, our concepts are interconnected with academia, how it's, and also the other way. I think that Wikipedia is also Wikipedia in the university level classroom is also a great tool to to learn how, for the existing at the moment peer-reviewed journals, the review goes. I believe it's even if we don't write articles on Wikipedia at the beginning, but in the safe space of the classroom, under the guidance of the educators, teachers, professors, and maybe with the help of the dedicated volunteers from the movement itself, in case the professors are not so. And this is an amazing lesson on how to do the review, how to receive critique, which I believe is very important. And so many of us, not in the academic concept, but in the context, but in the Wikipedia context, and also other wiki sibling projects, are struggling not to take revert personal or other things. And in a way, it is anonymous review, but in a way, it's not, because at some point we meet in person, like in this very setting. But I believe it's an amazing opportunity to learn those skills, to learn how to do it, but also how to receive the review, evaluation, and critics, which we, as academics, independent or institution-based, we will continuously receive for the articles, for the project proposals, and others. And sometimes will be judged fairly, sometimes will be judged by those that don't really are experts in the given context. But it's important also to learn how to discuss concepts. Thank you.
100%. Thank you very much. Okay, I think we are ready to open the floor for questions from the audience. I don't know if we have any roving mics.
Let's give up one.
I can run with mine.
Sure.
Yeah, should be okay. Or Hannah, do you want to come a bit closer? Yeah, if you just ask from here, if that's okay.
Yeah, something you said earlier kind of stood out to me, because you were saying how you were very like pro student editing, and like how you think everyone should kind of do it, right? And obviously I'm cool with young people editing, because I'm 21, and if I was against that, I wouldn't be editing at all. But I think maybe there's more factors to consider than just like seeing, like if some articles stay, because like from the newcomer's perspective, you don't want to be setting people up to fail. And then from the like community outreach perspective, you don't want to have people kind of like, yes, people will clean up after the people who are doing things that they aren't supposed to be, but it kind of diminishes the volunteer morale, I think, a bit. Like if they're constantly flooded with content that they need to clean up, then they can, it can be a bit of a vicious cycle where they're less welcoming to student editors, and then, yeah. So I was just wondering if you've ever kind of considered that, and if you had any thoughts on how you might want to mitigate factors like that.
I think it's a very good argument that you're making, but I think two things I want to add to that. First of all, editors are already flooded with bad quality edits.
Yeah, I just mean like when you have like classes, there's a scale to it that like you might not otherwise see.
I would still argue that the average quality of professor supervised class editing will be higher than the average quality of a newcomer edit. Mainly because, students who have access to all those journal libraries, who are supervised by a professor, by design are like probably top 1% of knowledge privileged people. So by design, it most likely will be not horrible, although probably not great neither. Second, the problem that I think you're raising is super important, that we do not discourage people by hanging them out to dry, you know, go edit Wikipedia and be done.
Yeah, like prepare them. Because like,
of course.
Yeah.
And I think you're very right. I think one of the things that we need to show is, first of all, let people know what the rules are, maybe let them familiarize with the format. But isn't it true of academic writing in general? You do not ask people to start writing for academic journals.
You don't have to be perfect, obviously. I just, yeah, from like the admit standpoint and from someone who's talked to a bunch of community members who've kind of been a bit iffy about certain aspects of student editing, I just thought it was an important point to raise.
I think it's a perfect point, and we need to be aware of it.
All right.
Thank you so much. Yeah, of course.
Just a couple of things. As an academic, when you're publishing, you want to add something to Wikipedia. If it gets removed, honestly, if you're an academic and you come up against me as an editor to remove something, I'm just a knuckle-dragging truck driver. You know, if you can't make an argument for your research to be included in an article because it's notable, then perhaps the issue isn't the admin that's removing it, it's... And the other question is very early on you mentioned publishing where you got a negative outcome, it didn't work. Doesn't that also open you to the risk of AI and the faux news community using that negative research to further their own ends? Is that something that concerns you?
Ultimately, I think the academic community should know that somebody did research and nothing came out of it. I'm not saying that it should be published in top journals, but I think there should be a path for letting the academic community know. That's the only thing I'm saying.
I would maybe just add in this context that is there really something as negative research? I think that like in Wikipedia concept, all the discussions lead to something. The more constructive there are, the more constructive criticism we receive, further we go. And I believe that this is also... I failed in the research, but that could contribute to someone going further, or even myself, and receiving evaluation, the review could also help me grow.
Thank you. Wojtek, do you have anything to add? Or we can take the next question.
I agree with my colleagues, so...
Thank you. Any more?
Yeah.
Hi there, I'm Sarah Thomas from Wikimedia UK. You talked variously about the difficulties of the challenges around academics engaging with Wikipedia around self-promotion and of large groups of students or small groups of students engaging, is also what Hannah was saying. I wondered if any of you have worked with a Wikimedian in residence at an academic institution, and if you hadn't, would you consider doing it?
I haven't, I would.
I also would. Okay, so it's dependent, as I said before, it's dependent on regulations, on, we can say, some kind of motivation, yeah? So I can do something as a hobby, as a volunteer, but there is some prioritized tasks, we can say, yeah?
I also don't have such experience, but in a broader concept of Wikimedia Polska, we're strongly considering it, if not planning. Please follow Kasia, contact Kasia for further details, and follow our websites and social media accounts for the updates, because I believe it is to come. Just to mention just one more point for those that are still looking for details, so many things are on wiki pages of Wikipedia, sometimes, I don't want to say buried, but hidden somewhere deep there. And I just noted, preparing for this meeting, just a few pages that are not Wikipedia articles, but are in the wiki of Wikipedia. Just a few of the titles. Wikipedia editing for research scholars and academics. Academic use And academic studies about Wiki, this is part of the civility essays, relationships with academic editors. They're all concepts also that you can find general for the inspiration. And this is Wiki, so please contribute with your ideas to steer forward the progress. Thank you.
Lovely, thank you very much. Any more questions? Oh, there.
Thank you so much for the opportunity and very interesting presentation. As someone who is positioned between academia but also teaching and training and Wikimedia for 7 years, just an idea about the problems with assignments for students, no matter high school or university students, and the tension with many of the experienced editors. It is that probably the first assignment to have for students is to learn them to read Wikipedia, not to write Wikipedia. Probably it's a local problem we have, but we also have problem with citation and the concept of citation. And this is not only about students, it's unfortunately about academia too. So this is another way of involving students in a meaningful way in Wikipedia, being critical, understanding how sources, what are reliable sources. I know this is the basics, but this is important as well. And something that struck me is this idea that administrators are the people with the role who are averting problematic contributions. It is not this way, or probably it's not in all language versions. So these are my comments. Thank you so much.
Good comments.
Nice.
Firstly, we need to, learn how to read. Next, we can write. It's yes. First alphabet, yes. Next words, next reading, and we can do writing. And Wikipedia, yes.
Full agreement. Thank you. I think Natalia has got the mic and is moving to someone. Please, I forgot to say, if you can say your name and your institution, it will be easier for people to follow up if they want to. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. And thank you for organizing this keynote. My name is Melissa Hegman, and I helped to develop the Budapest Open Access Initiative, which first defined open access to research 20 years ago. And 20 years on, I think we've seen great development in terms of 50% of research articles are now openly available. Yet, as you've pointed out, there are new barriers for authors to publish. So we are very much focused on developing equitable open access and moving away from article processing charges and read and publish agreements, and focusing on the reform of the research assessment, as you pointed out, it really creates barriers as well. And so my question is, do you see a role for the Wikimedia movement to collaborate on the further development of equitable open access? I think Wikimedia has such a role to play within the wider development of knowledge production, and has played a leading role in copyright reform. And I would love if we could collaborate more on open access. Thank you.
I will address this because unfortunately I will have to leave in 3 minutes as we're ending the session. I think absolutely we have a crucial role. Wikidata is basically the global backbone infrastructure for data. So I think we definitely could play a leading role there. However, the first thing we would need to have is a seat at the table. And Wikimedia Foundation has been asking repeatedly to have the seat at the table, be it Washington, Brussels, the WTO, and whatnot. And unfortunately, we were not necessarily getting the seat at the table. So I think it would be important for Wikimedia Foundation, but also other organizations in the movement championing for this cause, to at least be recognized as important stakeholders.
Thank you. Any more?
Yeah, I can maybe add that Wikipedia information that are provided in Wikipedia articles, they have references to different scientific papers. And recently this language models that was created based on Wikipedia and other high quality sources, they for them it's better to have also availability of those sources. So I think that knowledge that are disseminated by Wikipedia also can move this problem of open access, so publisher will more motivate to will be more motivated to open these sources, which also presented in Wikipedia. So I think Wikipedia is a good example that knowledge can be used to produce some good tools as Gen AI. So also articles which are used as sources can be also used to develop more better algorithms or language models.
Thank you. We have 1 minute left when I know Darek has to leave, but maybe we have time for one final short question or two.
Okay, I'm Ivo Kruusamägi from Estonia, and one of the things we really heavily focus there is education, especially in universities. And like, for instance, Wiki Science competition so far has been, in our case, the really only competition that has been able to generate new Wikipedians, and competitions hardly do that. But one of the things that we have also had is that University of Tartu, for instance, has been helping us to promote Wikipedia. Because even though, as we ourselves really try to promote this Wikipedia to, is it faculty members, or university students, or pretty much anyone in society, then if some other institution starts it instead of Wikipedia, local Wikimedia organization, it works a lot better. And so, just briefly asking, like, what is your ideas about what would be the best way of actually promoting this kind of Wikipedia work in academia?
That's a big one to end on. Anyone?
I think that good promotion of Wikipedia is referencing to Wikipedia. The more studies add citation to Wikipedia articles. As I said before, the more models use Wikipedia. So if society, if younger persons will understand that changing the Wikipedia will change also different sources of data, models, and so on, maybe it will be promote the knowledge on Wikipedia and promote also editing of Wikipedia. I think also about gamification process of Wikipedia, because there is a lot of video games that are very popular to younger persons because they have a lot of awards for small steps. Why cannot Wikipedia find something similar to these games to invite those persons?
So just to first answer the very last point, it is already happening. Don't call me naive, call me realistic. Please check the program for the session that my colleagues from Wikimedia Polska will be leading to present the gamification of learning how to edit Wikipedia. This is a great project and a great session prepared. So this is one of the aspects of learning how to edit Wikipedia, but outside of the Wikipedia and also outside of potential hard criticism. But just one takeaway and comment briefly. I am personally very dedicated to the applied sciences, but also interconnectivity of different projects. The dialogue that steams the progress, and I think if we show how much is possible from connecting Wikimedia, the field research, the resources that we have. Ivo mentioned Wiki Science competition. These are potential illustrations for academic articles, for example, of amazing quality. But there are also so many other resources and so many projects that we could do, so much that we could learn in a way from each other, but also so many Wikipedians and other contributors to sibling projects are academics, and also potential future editors are among academics and students. So there's great potential, and let's show the connectivity to people, and let's do things together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Julia and Wodek. I think this is a great note to end on. The time is escaping us. I'm really sorry if we didn't get to all the questions. I think we could be here for another half an hour or full hour, but it's nearly 10 o'clock. Thank you so much for joining us, and please join me in thanking the panelists for their...
Thank you.
Thank you, Kasia, for moderation.